Hello, everyone. Hola, ¿cómo estás? You are all probably wondering why there is a boring white background behind me. Well, that is because on May 1st, today, as Rachel she is ready to reveal the beehive. I happen to be down here in Todos Santos, Mexico, where I have just wrapped up two of my back-to-back mosaic art retreats. And Rachel and I still decided to make it a go, even though we're not at MAO headquarters. So that's a little background on my background. But would you please say hello and where you are coming from in our chat? Because we are so excited to get this reveal started that we want to thank you all for being here. It is a really exciting day. Rachel is going to share everything about how this whole process started and happened and where she's with it today, and even what's behind her, which is even more exciting. And make sure you stay till the end. We do have a special bonus gift to give you. And I think that's all I've got to say, Rachel. So I'm going to let you take it from here.
Oh,
Rachel,
my goodness.
from the Ruins with our beehive reveal.
Thank you, Tami. I'm so excited that I'm afraid I'm going to forget things. I have so much I want to talk about. I'm going to start this behind with my little background behind me. These are all of you latecomers. You read just in time. I think I opened 10 packages today, literally like 2 hours ago. Unwrapped them, got them put back up on the cupboard behind me, and they're not on the wall yet, so they won't be a part of the video, which we had by necessity had to film beforehand, so Jerry could put it all together. So I just don't want you to think that you're not a part of it. You're right here in beautiful, color studies right behind me. So as far as, just giving you a little bit of a background, if you don't know what this is, if you've been hiding under a rock for the last 3 months, myself, Deb Engelbaugh, and Linda Rosenblum had this crazy idea after we had the success of the quilts and the Patch House project with the 3 beautiful quilts. We wanted to do something else big that was an open call to the Ruins artists, and any artists actually, an open call to as many as first-time mosaic artists, and we wanted to make it big. So behind the scenes, we texted, we emailed. I wrote something today about it on the Ruins newsletter that explains, that we sometimes will argue and fight and then laugh and make up, and we share our ideas on how to create such a big collaboration. Anyway, what's going to happen in this I think it's a 22-minute video today, Tami, is the beginning will be some quiet time with me right now, talking over and giving you a little bit of a narration, and then in the middle there's a big part in the middle that is a little bit of the installation with Deb and Linda actually putting things on the wall. And so I'll be quiet. You'll hear my other voice. It was in the recording talking. And then the next part, oops, I was muted. Okay. The next part will be a special honey tasting panel by the beekeeper at Sunny Rose Ranch. And I just definitely recommend that you lean back, get a little cup of coffee or something, and just be mesmerized by Chris Varia's voice as he talks about honey and they do the tasting. And then when that's over, then we'll do this beautiful panning over of the almost finished installation with me talking again. So I think that's a good preview of what to expect. And then, of course, at the end, we can talk more and have questions. So
shall we start the video?
Yeah, and what I love about this, right before you hit play, Tami, the birds are in the back. The Ruins birds, the real ones, not the mosaic ones, are giving me beautiful background music as I go through this. So it's just enjoy the birds. Okay. Muted. Okay. One of my favorite before pictures. I love a good before and after. This area here, this beautiful corner of the brick wall, has been unloved for 9 years. We finally did a big cleanup. We cleaned up some of the rusty metal, the garbage. There was so much that was wrong with this area. And now, we cleaned off the brick. We, used our wire brushes to clean it off and get it ready. And this is the first few installs that I did myself back here with just me and the birds, just trying to get a feel for how these hexagons, these triptychs, were going to fit together. It's a little bit scary, those first few, but I was excited, and you can see how they're starting to grow. And if you notice that they're on two walls, that they cross a corner, and this corner is a space that we all walk by every Ruins tour. And I've always known it was special. And it's just one of those examples of how it had to wait until the right time. And I'm so glad that we waited for it. This is a nice far away shot of the hexagons growing. So we all went to color school on this one. I did a final count today. There are 290 of you represented here, the ones behind me and the ones on the wall right now, 290. We made 400 complete triptychs that were available to be made. So that means there are quite a few out there floating around still that may make their way back to the Ruins. We'll see. Oh, this is not finished, but it's close to finished. So this is what looks like a giant modern quilt in a way. I keep thinking it looks like some kind of a modern art museum. And our resident cat Trouble was there on my last day of installation so far, helping me. But there's so many things that blew my mind about. I may have to stop talking soon, so it might be abrupt when the other video starts, but you all just knocked everything out of the park. You dove deep. You took yourselves to color school. We took each other to color school. We learned the foundations. So many mosaic artists are focused on the material and how to cut the material and how to work with the material. And sometimes foundational ideas like color in art get kind of pushed to the side. And I think that, we have been an example of that over the years. And this was a way for people to revisit or visit for the first time the actual rules and language of color. This is a beekeeper. So if you look at the background of him, you have the hot reds next to the cool blues. There's a nice little close-up of one that was on the honey tasting table. And when we installed, we did a random installation. So we didn't try to put one triptych next to another.
This is install day number 1. And we have Deb Engelbaugh putting up a triptych right now. Linda Rosenblum was mixing some of the special laticrete epoxy that we're using for the beehive triptychs. And you can see we have our work table here. And this is less than half, probably, of the entire composition. So there's a lot of beehives. We got a beautiful sunny day. And this is my favorite shot right here in the corner, seeing both sides. And I will pan down here and show you this little bit of, it looks like a mess, but this is the Lat Epoxy 310 that we are using for the install, which is a little bit different. No thin set for this install at all. This is a very special, we call it the Big Gun by Laticrete. It works with a battery. It comes out in 2 sides, and then you mix it together on something that you can throw away. So this is a little bit of that right there, and then we just paint that on the back. And it's really, really simple for install. The reason we chose that was because we wanted to see the brick, partly. We wanted to see the brick behind each beehive. And with this exterior grade adhesive, yeah, see where Linda's pointing to the little holes? Yeah, actually, I'll come up and come closer, and you can see that we get that beautiful negative space that you see in beehives. We would not have been able to make that happen with thin set, because the thin set just goes everywhere. We've learned that. So we're pretty excited.
I think we're nearing the end here, girls.
Welcome to what might be the first annual Ruins Beehive honey tasting session. We have 4 beautiful souls here who have I have strong-armed behind this table. From the right, we have my mother, Sherry Sager. Next is Chris Vario, the owner of Sunny Rose Ranch. We call him the beekeeper, the bee charmer, and he has brought a beautiful lineup of his honey for a tasting. Next, we have Blair Barthels, who is a very good friend of the Ruins. He's been doing a lot of research, historical research, helping us figure out some things from the past, and is a Ruins Beehive artist himself. And then on the far left, many of you know Erica Johnson, the Ruins Fairy, aka the Ruins tour guide, and a very good friend of the Ruins. So without further ado, I'm going to pass this over to Chris, and he is going to start introducing some of the honey that we're going to be tasting.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. So the first honey that we're going to sample today is black locust honey. This is a local variety of western Pennsylvania. It comes from black locust trees. It's a springtime variety. If the weather is right during late April through June, and we don't get too much rain, the honeybees are able to make a nice honey crop. So you can see how light it is. Some people say it has a fruitier taste to it, and I've even heard people say it might have hints of vanilla in it. So we're going to start with that one. Yeah, so this is our first variety, black locust. So go ahead and give it a try.
What do you think?
A little bit sharp.
Okay.
I love it.
Sharp. Like a bite to it?
Not really a bite. It's
Like a strong.
clear. Real clear.
Okay.
I already told you. That's delicious.
It is
delicious.
What do you
It
usually?
is really light and
bright.
yeah, it's bright and spring.
Mhm.
Don't use your low voice today, Erica. Oh, there's the sun. I can see it coming a little bit.
I think once we try another one,
You can compare.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll be able to compare it.
But I have to get it all out so that the next one won't be nice.
Yeah.
It's not hard to do.
Put your finger in there.
Very good.
Good.
Yay.
Okay.
Yum. Thank you.
It's definitely not as strong.
Okay. Well, so we have two different. Somebody's saying sharp and not as strong.
I think
So,
what I meant was bright. When I said
Bright.
strong.
okay.
It's bright. It's bright.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody has a different type of palate and tastes different things. So it's good to hear
At the
different.
very end, I get the vanilla.
I do too.
Okay.
I
Oh.
just now
Okay.
getting-
So you
yeah.
catch it.
Vanilla.
So the next variety I would recommend we try is the wildflower variety right here. So the difference between these two is this is a single source nectar. The black locust is only black locust flowers, and it's considered a monofloral honey. The wildflower honey is a mix of multiple different nectar sources. So it's considered polyfloral. So there can be all different. There could be some black locust in there, but it's a mixture of.
How do you keep the bees from only going to the black locust?
You don't. It's a matter of when you harvest it and separating the frames of honey through.
So when
your
those flowers are blooming.
extraction. So
I see.
when spring harvest comes in, and I pull out the frames of honey from each hive, you can look at at the color and the taste of those particular frames and extract those ones separately, the ones that you know are this variety or that variety.
That's the wildflower you're tasting, Mom?
This is the wildflower. So this is polyfloral. You'll taste a lot of different things in here.
It's
Yeah.
so different. Wow, it's super alive.
Ooh, alive. That's a good description.
I mean, in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely had a stronger honey taste.
Each honey variety has a different, its own distinct taste to it because of the flowers that it's coming from, the nectar that's being brought back to the hive.
All right, so we're back, and we have tasted the wildflower honey, which we're learning is polyfloral.
Correct.
And I think that's just fascinating because Chris was just saying it's different every year because there's a different crop of wildflowers every year, and so there's going to be lots of different things in it.
That's right.
Is it seasonal too?
It's seasonal. Yes. Yeah. Usually spring, summer is when I gather most of the wildflowers together. But you may have more dandelion in there and less locust, and it all gets mixed together differently. So it may taste different every single year that you get it. But
That
that's
makes
what
me.
wildflower is.
Yeah, I did not know that. So I want to seek out wildflower honey now for that reason.
Yes.
Yeah, very cool.
Put a year on it.
Yeah, the year. Mm-hmm. So let's.
You'd be covered with honey.
Well,
So
how
what-
do you time the harvest, like for the wildflowers?
So it's usually when the honey flow is on, is when the primary nectar source is in bloom, which in our area here in the next few weeks, the black locust tree is going to be the primary source that the bees are going to be going to, and they're going to be bringing that nectar back to the hive, and they're going to be turning it into honey. The way they do that is through what they call trophallaxis. So the bees will suck the nectar out of the blossom, bring it back to the hive, and then regurgitate that nectar into the mouth of another honeybee. So bees have two stomachs. One is for digestion, the other one is for storing nectar and water and honey. So through that process of trophallaxis and the nectar in the honey stomach of the bee mixing with their enzymes, they transfer it back and forth probably 4 or 5 times, and then finally regurgitate it into the hexagonal cells within the hive that we call honeycomb. That would be bees. Right here. And then
And those behind you.
and bees behind me. Yes.
Yes.
And then what will happen is the bees will regulate the temperature within the beehive by flapping their wings in order to dissipate some of the moisture content within the nectar until it becomes the viscosity of what we're used to honey. And then once it reaches that point, they'll cap it with their beeswax, this white stuff.
So they decide when to cap it.
So just marketed it as red bamboo or
Oh, yeah.
or bamboo red, but the plant species is Japanese now.
It's interesting because the flowers are white,
That's right.
but
The nectar is very dark.
This almost tastes like burnt pine sugar.
Bird brown sugar. Okay.
It's very strong. Strong is the word I use for this.
Okay.
yeah, it's more molasses-y.
Yeah.
Yeah, how would you describe it?
Well, you know this. I have tried some of the knotweed this year, not all of it, or I'm sorry, this is from last year's. What's been happening with the knotweed is that it's getting some what's called honeydew in it. Honeydew comes from the spotted lanternflies that are getting on some of the trees. Well, the bee they secrete some sticky what they call honeydew, and the bees they go and suck it up and they bring it back to the hive and it gets mixed into the honey. So maybe what you may be tasting is a little bit of the honeydew, because that could produce a smokiness to the honey.
It does have a kind of a smokiness.
So there may be some of that in there as well.
So interesting.
So-
Those two invasives together.
Yes.
Wow.
Giving you a close-up of the table. This is one of our beehives yet to be installed. Chris, these are some of your special beeswax candles that I'm just completely in love with. You picked a couple for the table.
Yes.
You collect the antique bottles
I do.
and then make molds from them.
That's correct.
So beautiful.
Yeah, anything with very nice embossing, I'm always on the lookout for. And I'll make a mold out of it and cast beeswax candle.
Awesome. And I'm going to just zoom in here and show everybody this very cool color wheel that is actually a honey wheel. How about that, everybody? And it gives you word descriptions on how to describe the honey. I see vanilla there. We've used that today.
Yes.
Molasses, you use that, right, Mom? Pepper. And then this is going to be our last tasting, and this is the actual honeycomb, right? So, go ahead, everybody. Let's,
It's going to be very chewy, and the honey will gush out in your mouth.
and you can eat the wax.
You can ingest the wax. A lot of beekeepers only harvest a small amount of comb honey every year. Most beekeepers will run their hives for producing what they call runny honey, liquid honey. But several of my hives are dedicated, strictly for comb production.
And they call it farmers.
Farmers chewing gum.
I love that. Very nice. Well, thank you, Chris. This was such a treat to have honey in front of the beehive color studies. And this little video is not finished installation. There's still quite a few to be installed, but you can tell we've already have more than half on the wall. So
They're beautiful.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for
Thank you.
thank you guys.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me, Tami? Tami, can you hear me? Just want to make sure. Okay.
Yes.
I wanted to show you. I wanted to start with the quilts there and just kind of slowly pan around to so you can see where the beehives are situated. Keep an eye on that little low wall right in front that has just a smattering of them. And then this first wall is just kind of a hint of what is going to be around the corner. So we didn't make it quite as dense on this wall, although that may change. We'll see what happens when we add the next 100, because I think there are almost 100 left. But one of the things that I want to kind of bring home to everybody is that I didn't really understand what a color study was myself when we started this crazy project. We had done the color wheel, which, you've seen some of those from last year, Deb, Linda, and myself. And so I understood what the color wheel was, but the color study is a very different thing. And Deb just kept pushing me. And I would say, it's a gradient, right? Let's just do a bunch of gradients and do the colors we like. But she kept, asking me, what is this study about, Rachel? When I would make my first few, what is this? What is the study? And it forced me to really start to think about how colors interact with each other, what happens when you can create like the perception or the illusion of things that are happening. We talked about Joseph Albers. Some of you remember that, and some of you even made your color studies inspired by the Joseph Albers philosophy of the illusion that colors can create. I would say that the value studies were probably the most common. I encouraged people to, if they didn't know which way to start with the values, which would be, like that one right down there, blue, dark blue, medium blue, light blue. Just using one color and creating the values in dark, medium, and light, or shade, hue, and tint. So those are some of the other words we discovered. And there's some real pros in here in this mix. Some people who have such fine andamento that It looks like the wave of an ocean or something. And then there's quite a few Malmoscato pieces, hand pulled Malmoscato. I'm just going to move over here to the work table to show you some of the ones that are waiting to be installed. I think those are all on the wall now. A lot of these came from from Ireland. There was an Ireland contingent to the project. And this is one of my favorite little areas right here. Oh, we'll go to this wall. So I'm going to do some close-ups. We tried to keep a lot of the earth tones on this wall. At one point, I think I made a call for more brown. I wrote a piece in the Ruins newsletter about what happened to brown on the color wheel. So every week, it seemed like for 2 months, I was writing about color, writing about the language of color and ways for us to push ourselves and go deeper. And, I've gotten so many beautiful messages and notes and presents. Thank you for the gifts over the last few months of people just expressing how meaningful this project was to them, whether it was getting them out of their comfort zone or, trying something new or trying something very new, as in their very first mosaic. And there were quite a lot of those. So I give you all so much credit, you first timers, for jumping into the deep end and becoming a part of the project. This little short wall is another section I've always loved. So it felt really good to start putting some color onto it. It's really fun picking the spots for these, and leaving the negative space around them. One of the other metaphors, the metaphor for this is the worker bee. Chris would certainly tell us that there are different kinds of bees. I can keep talking, right? I think the video's over, but I'm just going to keep talking, Tami. Different kinds of bees within the hierarchy. There's the queen, of course, and then there's the worker bees and the drones. And I forget if there's one more or not, but the drones don't really leave the hive. They take care of the queen and they stay nice and safe in the hive. But the worker bees, they're little adventurers. They go out into the world and they forage and they experience, and they decide which flower they're going to pollinate and bring back to the hive. And that's what that's what we are. We're the forager bees. We're doing our thing, but we're always coming back to the big picture of the hive. And honestly, that chokes me up a little bit when I think about it that way, because we all really did come together for this. And I said in the newsletter today that it worked. This one, not that most of the Ruins projects don't work, but this one just felt like poetry to me. And I'm overwhelmed. I am. I'm turning into a bee. I have opened so many packages in the last couple of months. I hope I don't have some beehive triptychs in my bathroom that I've forgotten about. I don't know. I can't. I do have the document, so I put a little check mark every time one came in. So I kept it organized. And certainly, if you're listening and you have not sent yours in or you have not made yours yet, please know that it's okay. You can still send it late. It's not like the quilts that had to have the math. Only so many things fit into the quilts, but the beehive might just keep growing a little bit more.
Well, speaking of growing, Rachel, our incredible wizard of technology to my left here managed to put a quick little video together of these last photos we were just sent.
Oh.
So bear with me if I can pull this off, but I'm going to hit share video and put this in, and you are going to improvise as you tell us. Unmute. There you go.
That was me sending this picture to Deb and Linda saying, what do you think? Should we go to this wall? And they said, yes, of course, definitely go to that wall. So I think the next photo you'll see, you've already seen a little bit of it, but yeah. So I'll be cleaning more moss off of that low wall. And if you remember, if you've been to the Ruins in person, that little low wall has a big opening on the other side of it that is absolutely full of old garbage. Isn't that terrible? It's just the part of, how the ruins works. It was a garbage dump for a long time, and we're going to be cleaning it out beautifully, and we're going to put a beautiful bench in that spot so that people can sit and contemplate the beehive from there in person. There's an all gold one, red and green right there on the left. Oh, that's all I get. Okay. Well, those were some of the final photos. I take photos almost every day, and they immediately become old photos because I keep doing more installations, and it's been a little bit. I just have to keep catching up because I think, well, we're getting close to being done, and then 10 more come in the mail. So we'll probably have more. I'm sure there'll be more videos next week on Instagram. Oh, Tami.
Speaking of coming, you told me I could turn my homework in late. So while down here in Todos Santos, I was able to create my little beehive, and it will be in the mail as soon as we return to the States. Wonderful. So that was very exciting to be able to share that with my students.
Would that be complementary colors that you had going on?
That is exactly what I did. I just did some complementary colors with the oranges and the turquoises. There's a little bit of Mervy Filati in it, a little bit of gold, but had to keep it simple because I was teaching, but I wanted to be able to be a part of it. And thank you for letting me turn it in late. But yeah, you'll get it soon, and it will join the rest of them. And, bees are really, as you all are hearing, how special they are. And Jerry and I have experienced 2 beehive invasions into our home. One went into the roof, and one went into the wall. And I am actually deathly allergic of bees. I have to carry an EpiPen because if I get stung. So we have such an appreciation for what it means for them to come save them. And that was the only way that we were comfortable with them being taken out of the 2 invasions that happened at the house. But you are so right about this being a community thing, because that's exactly what happened. An entire force of bees literally were a swarm one second, and the next second they found the tiniest hole and were inside the walls of our home, starting to build their hive with the queen. Gosh. So Chris has quite the education, which I've learned just a little bit of what he was talking about, but they are such a special. I mean, insect feels like I'm insulting them. Sentient beings is what they are to me. And so you always knock it out of the park, but this one might be like way over the green monster, way past everything. And
well, speaking of Chris, he took me on a little walk around the ruins and the property after the honey tasting. And he showed me a couple different spots where the ruins honeybees may someday be added. So I really want to do it, but one thing at a time, or 12 things at a time. Yeah.
That's how we know. It's the only way we know how to do it. Yeah. So does anyone have any questions for Rachel about everything that's been involved in the beehive installation, the experience, the entire concept to the installation? And Jerry's going to shoot me those questions. You can put them in the chat. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Rachel, while the questions might be coming in?
I'm just trying to give people a little view of those behind me, in case you're looking for yours. Oh, I can't lean the right way. I felt bad. I couldn't get them all up before the video, but they're here. Well, I was amazed at how complex a lot of the color studies were. I was mentioning that a lot of people did the values, very simple value study, which are gorgeous, right? Gradients, but people were going into split complementaries. They were doing triadics. Yeah, I can't even pronounce it. And I can't actually tell you what that is on the color wheel. I'd have to look it up again. But the analogous colors, they were doing monotones. I asked for some neutrals, and so the earth tones started coming in that next week. They were just, I don't know. I'm just truly fascinated by how all of that energy happened in private studios all over the country, and even in a couple different countries. and quietly, that people were just taking their projects very seriously. I think there were probably some smalty parties. I think a few people got together, and I saw some people working together, but for the most part, these were just quiet, contemplative projects. And they trusted me enough to send them in and become a part of this huge thing. So
Exactly that. And so someone does have a question about, has this whole process and installation changed the way you look at color?
absolute. Oh my gosh, yes. I'm making different things now, for sure. I've noticed that I've just been playing around a little bit, trying to build the inventory in the studio. There's absolutely no doubt that I'm making different decisions now than I made before. Deb has always told me very complimentary, that's a little pun there, right? Complimentary to me, that I have an intuitive sense of color. And that's another way of saying I don't really know what I'm doing. I just do things. And I'm glad that I have that. But I'm better for this project for having learned the language and learned how color works. Maybe that's a good word. How it works in the composition. And I learned from seeing other people learn. Right? Yeah.
And the next question is, what's the process like for dreaming up the next project?
Well, there's some exhaustion right now that I don't want to think about it yet. But we do have some ideas. And, I think just because this created so much love, it makes me want to do a 2025 something. So yeah, a lot of it, Deb and Linda and I do work together a good bit behind the scenes, but there are other people too, who are behind the scenes workers here at the Ruins in different ways. Everybody interacts in different ways behind the scenes here. I had something in my head that I wanted to not forget, and now of course I probably will.
Well, it feels like yesterday that you were sharing a secret with me as we went to dinner at the SAMA conference. And here we are at the reveal, and I can't thank you enough. And if someone still wanted to participate, they are here on this live event, but they never got a beehive. Is that still possible? Are you going to be selling them? How? Because you said this one's kind of can be never ending in a way.
Yeah, I really would like it to, just like your swarm in your house, because bees don't necessarily stay in the same place all the time. They move, they migrate, they create new is it a colony? Bee colony? Yeah, they create new places. And I see the triptych as being very universal, very repeatable. And I am, definitely going to be selling them on my website, and possibly in conjunction with a future MAO course, maybe, but that's still talking. So, I mean, I can see beehives becoming, in other places that are, inspired by the Ruins, but aren't the Ruins. So.
And do you think there'll ever be like a master list of everyone that did contribute to the Ruins that you can share somewhere, your website or somehow?
To the Ruins or to the beehive?
I mean, to the beehive.
Yeah, that's a good question. I have the list of all the people. A lot of them were repeats because many of the people in this have already become a Ruins artist. So yet to be determined if I'm going to put the new names up on the wall of names, which is the general list that you see at the very end of your tour, or if I'll make a separate beehive list. Don't know the answer to that one yet.
That's okay.
But either way, your name will be on the wall somewhere.
All right. I just asked our tech wizard if there were any other questions, and he says no. So I'm going to share this very special gift that Rachel is generously putting forth to everyone here at this event. But she does have I've lost count. I think we're at 12 courses with you, Rachel, 11 or 12
Wow.
courses. So all of her courses right now are 15% off until tomorrow at midnight. Use the code Rachel15. Don't have a space in your code like I did here. So Rachel15 for any of her courses will be 15% off until tomorrow at midnight. And so that means, you know, none of her bundles are available right now, because you can get 15% off of one of her on Dementos and one of her intuitive mal macchiatos, and put those together. And that's like having a bundle at the same price. So this is a really special discount that we only do. It's only on Rachel's courses for right now. We will be having our spring sale coming up in a couple of weeks. But if you are interested in any of Rachel's courses, this is a much deeper discount than it would be for our sale. So we highly recommend you take advantage of it till tomorrow at midnight. And that is my big pitch, and that's all I got for that. So I just want to say thank you so much, Rachel, for doing this with us here. You know, it's special. Today was the May 1st day, the deadline, and we were down here, but we all made it work technically, and just really grateful that we could all be together and you could share it with everyone in our community.
Thank you, Tami. And also, you know, for everyone, you know, definitely keep an eye out on social media in the coming days and weeks, because it will eventually, all these ones behind you will be installed probably very soon. And I'll be taking more videos and more photos of the final. So
yeah, so make sure you follow Rachel at Sager Mosaics on Instagram, and then follow Mosaic Arts Online on Instagram and Facebook. And also please push the red button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you'll hear more about when our next live event will be. And always feel free to check out all of our free content on this YouTube channel. There is hours and hours and years of content that is available to you anytime for free. So I think that's it. I just want to, oh, we have one more question coming in. That the Chris molds of the candles.
oh yeah,
Someone's asking if the molds are available. So
absolutely. I bought some for my mother for her birthday this February. Sunny Rose Ranch. You just Google that, and he has a nice website, and there's a candle part of his website, and that was just a tiny little sampling. There's so many beautiful candles.
Jerry's going to pop the website into the chat.
Cool.
So then you can just go check out all of his candles, and
they're like the kind of candles you're afraid to burn because they're just too darn pretty. Yeah.
Right. One for burning, one for storing or sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. This was such a wonderful event. We're so grateful Rachel was able to show us everything, and Jerry editing the video together. It's just been awesome. So, and this does take place, if you know that Rachel does do an annual Ruins tour every year, this is it. This was the special one we're doing this year at this time. And so we will see you back in 2025, Rachel. We don't know how or what it'll be. And if you ever get the chance to be out in Pennsylvania, Rachel, give a little pitch about exactly where you are for those that might not know.
An hour south of Pittsburgh, Fayette County. And if you are interested in getting a Ruins tour when you're passing through, just know that you go to the website, make an appointment with our calendar, and that's very important. But yeah, the Ruins Ferry gives a beautiful tour, and it's everything is so much more vibrant and real and in person when you're actually here.
Okay, and one last question that I think we just need to clarify. Even though if you haven't been a part of the Beehive now, can you purchase the 3 hexagons frame and still make something?
I don't have them for sale on the website yet. That's something, now that I have this behind me, that was all leading up to this. Now that this is behind me, I'm going to look at getting more for inventory for personal use. They will not be for returning to the Beehive at the Ruins. They will be for you to do with what you wish. Which is
perfect.
Really cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. That answers that question. And again, thank you everyone for being here. It's been an awesome experience. Rachel, you're the best. You are a visionary, a genius. And I know Deb and Linda are right behind you with a huge little village back there. You guys are incredible. So thank you
Tami.
so much for doing this.
Yay.
Yeah. Bye everyone.